This right here is the coziest fall pasta you will ever make. We're making butternut squash pasta today, you guys, and not only is it just the most delicious way to cook up a butternut squash, it is silky smooth, dreamy, creamy, melt in your mouth good, and it's also really high in protein. I'm talking like 25 grams of protein per serving, so you can, eat good and do good for your muscles. So first, if you've never prepared a butternut squash before, don't worry. I'm gonna show you how literally easy it is to do. We're gonna start by peeling the butternut squash, okay? So the skins are honestly pretty delicate, and just pretty much doing a once over of each spot is all you need to do. You don't really need to go over the same spot more than once. I start by holding the top, and I just kind of go down the top part of the squash. And then once we get to the rump, I like to call this the rump of the squash, I either just kind of hold it in place and continue on the same kind of trajectory down, or if it's easier for you, you can kind of pull upwards and go backwards this way. Whatever way is most kind of comfortable and efficient for you. Cut off the bottom and the top, then cut off the bottom part, separating this big honky bit from the bottom half. Slice it in half. Voila! Seeds, just like inside of a pumpkin. Guts and seeds, scooped out. And now we're basically just going to very roughly chop the squash into like big chunks. They do not have to be small little cubes by any means, because squash is pretty soft and you can leave them in big chunks and they'll still cook in a pretty decent amount of time. So like 2 to 3-ish inch chunks are fine. Once your squash is all chopped up into nice big honky chunks, we're simply just going to transfer it to a sheet pan. Voila! Yep, this is the kind of pasta where we're literally dumping everything onto a sheet pan and throwing it in the oven, roasting it up so that we can just blend it into a delicious, velvety smooth pasta sauce that is going to rock your world. But we are not quite done yet. We have just a couple more things to add to our sheet pan, which are, of course, onion and garlic. Yep, we're gonna add 1 whole onion. This is a pretty small onion. You could even do a little bit bigger if you want, and a whole head of garlic, because we don't mess around when it comes to pasta sauce. It requires a whole honky head of garlic. All you gotta do is slice the onion in half. That's it. And lop the top off the garlic. And then we're simply just going to nestle in the garlic and the onion amongst the squash, and all the little bits from the top little part of the garlic that we sliced off, don't throw them away. Just don't do it. Add them right into the mix. And then I just like to give everything a really light drizzle of olive oil, maybe about 1.5 tablespoons. Nothing crazy. And then I like to get in there with my hands. We're just going to give it all a quick little massage, coat all of that goodness in the oil. This will just help it to brown up nicer and kind of slightly caramelize the veggies, which adds a lot of flavor and deliciousness. And then for the garlic, make sure you really rub the oil on top so that it gets nice and caramelized. A cheeky little grind of freshly cracked black pepper. A little bit of salt, and then she goes into the oven for like 40 minutes, just until the squash is fork tender, the onion and the garlic have slightly browned and caramelized a little bit, and then we move on to the next step, which involves a blender. Bye-bye! At about the halfway mark of cooking, you can go ahead and get a big old pot of salty water boiling and cook up some pasta noodles. Now, I am using spaghetti. I'm using durum wheat or semolina, pasta di semola di grano duro. It's in Italian. Clearly it's good, but this stuff is actually quite high in protein. Like 1/6 of this package is 10 grams of protein. But if you're gluten-free, you can absolutely use a lentil or chickpea-based pasta, and it doesn't have to be spaghetti. It can be whatever shape you like. You do you. And while that's all happening over yonder, this is the perfect opportunity for you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button below. Yeah, it's free. All you gotta do is click it, and you're subscribed to my community. You get to see all of my videos that I drop twice a week on the channel. Everything I do is healthy, plant-based, high protein, mostly gluten-free, and super easy and delicious. And we have a lot of fun here. And I would just love for you to help me grow my happy little community. And if I could, I would just give you a big ol' hug to thank you. Thanks. Okay, so I always like to reserve 1 to 2 cups of the pasta water, just in case I need to use it to kind of thin out the sauce once it's done. Strain the noodles. Whoa. And just like that, we are about 40 minutes in the future, and that squash is as fork tender can be. Yum. So the next part is pretty gosh darn easy. Basically, what we're gonna do is we're gonna add all of these roasted veggies into our blender, but with a few extra fun ingredients that are gonna add protein, flavor, and just overall deliciousness. So I recommend first loading up your blender with the veggies, just because they're soft and they're really easy to blend. Do you see the caramelization on that squash? That is flavor. Lastly is this whole head of garlic, but since it's still really hot, since we just took it out of the oven, I recommend just putting it in a paper towel like so you can grip it like this so you don't burn your hands when you squeeze out all of the softened garlic on the inside. Ooh, do you see that? Ooh, yummy. But mercy, that is hot AF. So when it comes to adding extra flavor to our butternut squash pasta, as if this doesn't have enough flavor with all that garlic, we're gonna add half a cup of nutritional yeast. This is gonna add not only savoriness and kind of slight cheesiness, but it's also gonna add a lot of extra protein and some B vitamins, which are never a bad thing. I also have about 1.5 tablespoons here of some vegan chicken bouillon powder. I buy this stuff in bulk, and it just makes sauces and soups and stuff so much more flavorful and kind of gives it that chicken broth flavor. I've also got a decent little handful here of some fresh sage. Now I have made this pasta with both sage and fresh rosemary, and both are honestly so good. I don't know which one is better, but you can use either sage or rosemary or a little bit of both. I'm using about 1 to 2 tablespoons here of fresh sage. I'm adding about 1 teaspoon of salt and a few healthy grinds of black pepper. And last but certainly not least, we're gonna be adding in a protein heavy hitter in the form of a block of firm tofu. Yes, I have made this pasta sauce with firm and silken tofu, and I find that, you know, if you just want more protein and kind of a more heartier texture, I like to add a block of firm tofu. We're basically just going to rip it into chunks and shove it into the blender. Try not to like overfill. You might have to do your sauce kind of in 2 batches if you don't have enough room in your blender, but from the looks of it, I think I'll be fine. I can fit a whole block in here. And finally, the last step is just to add in some water. I'm using hot water actually that I just boiled. I'm adding about, to start, about 1 cup to 1.5 cups, and we can always add a little bit more as we need to help it blend. Blitz, baby, blitz! If your blender kind of stalls on you, it just means your sauce is too thick. So just push down until you release any air bubbles and add some more hot water. Proceed! All right, people, what are we dealing with? Ooh, that is luxurious. Obligatory taste test, obviously. Oh my God, that is so good. You literally cannot even taste that there's tofu in here. That just tastes like delicious butternut squash, onion, and garlic. Oh my God, that is so good. Now all that's left to do is to pour this insanely large blender full of pasta sauce right back into the pot that we cooked the noodles in, and go from there. So I've just got the sauce heating through over medium heat, and I'm basically just going to add in the cooked pasta noodles that we prepared not long ago. And we're just gonna give this all a real good tossy. Yep, scientific term. It's very important that you toss the tossy. Now you will notice that this is gonna be a very thick situation. It's a thick sauce and there's a lot of noodles here. This is a big batch of pasta. And in case you haven't noticed, this is gonna feed a whole family, or this can be a really great meal prep situation if you want to prep yourself a real nice, cozy, high protein meal for the week. If it's a little too thick, which I kind of think it's a bit too thick, which is fine, we saved that pasta water for a reason. You can kind of add in a little splash or two as you go until you've reached the pasta sauce consistency that you like. It's also important to note that I didn't cook the pasta noodles until they were like totally done, cooked through and soft. I cooked them until they were just almost about al dente because they're gonna finish cooking as you heat through the sauce. And as you can see, I'm doing a lot of tossing. And if I had cooked the noodles all the way through, there's a good chance they would have like fallen apart on me, which we don't want. We want our noodles to be chewy and intact. So only cook them until they're almost al dente. Pro pasta tip for you. Okay, this might not look like much to you at the moment. It just probably looks like this big yellow soupy blob. But this right here, this is pure creamy, dreamy pasta perfection. And it's only gonna get better. Hallelujah, you guys. This literally smells like autumn incarnate in a bowl. I topped it off with some fresh sage, a little shaving of some vegan Parmesan cheese, and a little crackling of black pepper. Can we also just appreciate my Michelin-starred plating here for a moment? Get in my belly. That is dangerous. That is really dangerous, you guys, because it is so good. I could literally eat that whole pot. Like, do you see how thick and creamy it is? Like, this is a situation. It's sweet, it is so savory. It's got that cheesy flavor from the nutritional yeast, and the vegan chicken broth powder adds so much flavor. Man, if this doesn't squash your cravings for pasta, I don't know what will. Oh, squash! I didn't even try, it just came out. Squash your craving. If you try this, let me know. I'm so excited to hear your thoughts. The blog post is linked below. Go give it a click, make this, and have a really good fall, you guys. And I will see you in another video real soon. Ta-ta!